Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I apologize, everyone. Today, we're having massive technical difficulties. So I'm going to re-record last night's video that I did and get it up. And I apologize for the lateness. The information will still be valuable, I promise. So I'm going to get to it. I'm going to be fast about it. I'm going to cover the questions that were left over from Saturday's live broadcast. But before I get to that, I want to talk about this hashtag traitor crap that's going on with Trump. What it shows is a level of desperation and ignorance on the part of those on the extreme left. These social communist, social fascist types. And even within all the socialist parties, they're fighting amongst themselves, whether they want to be commies or fascists. What I want freedom. I want my rights recognized again. But be that as it may, this hashtag treason is a bunch of crap. It's very interesting to watch. So let's get down to the questions. I'm going to be as quick as I possibly can, just because every minute counts. So I got a question here from John, or questions and comments from John Sullivan Jr. He says, what do you think about putting some kind of flyer that we could print up and put on people's windshields to expose the Democrats as the radical leftist socialists they are? Well, what I would like to say about that is I'm not going to recommend doing that. Shit, as far as I know, that's illegal. Trying to persuade people and their political opinion, that can only be done by Democrats and the and the news, the mainstream news. Everyone else, it's colluding with the Russians. It's interfering with democracy. But yeah, it's a great idea. Now, for me, if I find a pamphlet on my car and they're all over the ground everywhere, I know they're trash. I won't even look at it. But if I see one neatly placed under my windshield, I may look at it. And if I've got time, I may even read it. So you're not going to teach people who already know the facts. So that's a segment of the population. And for leftist Democrat idiots and socialist types, they're over here and you're not going to change their mind. But there's that small margin in the middle that will make up their mind provided they get just a little more information. You may persuade them. So what's the odds? 10%? That's a lot of people. 5%? Even that is a lot of people. It's just, do you have the time to do it? The money to do it? Can you design a pamphlet? My time is best spent on here sharing my information with you guys this way. That's why I do it. It takes far less time than me running around parking lots putting things under windshields. But we all have our forte. And we all have a niche that we can fill. And so if that's what you want to do, so be it. Get it done. Get as many people persuaded as possible. Every percentage counts. All right, John, I don't want to mess your last name up, but it looks like it's Greek. John Lysikatos. Should we be preparing exclusively for Shit It's the Fan, or should we simultaneously preparing for Shit It's Fan and or a self-sufficient homesteading lifestyle? Because for a large majority of us, everyday life will soon become unaffordable. And that is true. When we get this correction, collapse, reset, remonetization, whatever it is that's going to happen, you bet everyone's going to be in turmoil. Their debt, I've looked into this a bit now, the government won't just say, hey, you know what, everyone now has more money because we've revalued it, and your house, you don't owe anything on it. They're not going to wipe away the debt. They're going to refigure it, send us a bill. We're going to end up dealing with something quite a bit like they are in Europe called austerity, which means take more of your money in taxes and give you less back, but give you all the debt as well. You can expect that to happen. So by practicing and preparing, we're learning how to plan as preppers. And that can be applied to homesteading and living cheaper and living off the grid as much as we can, planting gardens, etc., etc., etc. Using less electricity, all of that is something that we are way ahead of the game on as preppers. Great idea. Yes, I recommend it. Because if we go into light, medium, heavy duty shit hitting the fan, guess what? You know, at that point, you know, there's going to be a real need for it. But if you practice it now, you'll be better at it. And if that's all we need to do, if we have just the lightest of light, shit hits the fan, which still, by the way, is shit. You're going to want to save every red penny you can. All right, Ron Cruz says, if Trump tries to mess with the monetary system, he will be assassinated just like Kennedy was. I would think Trump would know this. I agree with you, Ron. I would think that Trump knows this, and I'm certain that he knows exactly how, why, and maybe even by whom Kennedy was killed. I have a good idea whom did it, and whom was involved, and whom should be held accountable. But yeah, he knows. He's no dummy, you know, and he's made it this far, and he's fucked with the hornet's nest a lot. So much so that CIA director, ex-CIA director Brennan is out there just exposing himself as a fool and a clown and a traitor, as he calls Trump a traitor. Can you believe that guy? Along with what James Clapper, James Comey, and everyone in the FBI, these people are all fools, or they're being exposed as fools because it's so obvious what they've done is criminal. And the only thing they can do, commit more crimes to cover up the other crimes, right? It is, they are going to get themselves in hot fucking water. And Trump also, he is in trouble when Brennan says that, you know, treason is a capital offense. He didn't say treason against the United States, treason against the people. He said treason. That could mean a number of things to someone with screwy Brennan's mentality. Remember, Brennan voted communist when he was a young man. Brennan, I believe, is converted to Islam. A communist Islamic wacko on the socialist left wing of politics and bureaucracy. These people are dangerous. Indeed, Trump knows that there's a death warrant that's been issued by the deep, dark state. All right, John Boss says, John, do you have any experience and reflections on the subject of solar cooking? Get it? Reflections? Yeah, John, I got it. Good one. Cooking by focusing the sun's rays works very well. I believe at the club, the preparedmind.club, we've got that covered. I think we've got some solar ovens on there. It's terrific. He asked about using solar satellite dishes and lining them with foil. Anything to bring the temperature up and reflect it. What's really nice about the manufactured and engineered solar ovens is they put this clear glass over the top. What that does is it allows the heat to come in, the solar rays, and heat everything, and then it holds the air. And it truly is a miniature greenhouse of cooking joy. Done it many times. It works fantastic. I do recommend putting a thermometer in there so you know how hot it is, and you can figure out if you've got, say, a large chunk of meat, something that possibly is contaminated, and you want to get it hot enough to ensure that all pathogens are killed and it's edible and safe for human consumption. That's going to be a big deal when shit hits the fan. You're not going to want to get food poisoning. It's going to be a miserable mess as it is now, and then you're going to couple that with all the other crap going on. Anyways, yes, make sure it's hot, make sure you got a thermometer, and make sure it's cooked well, and you'll be in good shape. Joseph Hayworth says, if when a medium level shit hits the fan event occurs, is there any way this can be limited to that region, i.e. shit goes down in the U.S. and it's held there? Or the EU collapses and we're okay over here and it's isolated just in Europe? I'm glad that we're thinking about low, medium, high levels of shit hitting the fan. That's really good because we don't know what's going to happen. We just know it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be pretty. We need to be prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. I agree with the concept that it could happen. There could be trouble just in Europe and we're okay over here. Now, what I do want to bring up is that in the U.S., we're tied to Europe. We're dependent on them economically, just as they're dependent on us economically, just as we're all dependent worldwide on each other. We're dependent on China now for everything from cheap things to expensive things to food. And they're dependent on us for the very same items. So if they have trouble in Europe and they go down, it's going to bring us down as well. Now, odds are, I think that the U.S., being a much more inherently violent place, right, is going to be more violent. But we could have limited problems here, and Europe could end up just having no real social problems, just a lot of economic ones. At the same time, I've seen those European police take and beat the living shit out of protesters over there. It could get horrifying, but we'll find out. But yes, yeah, it could definitely be one side's better off than the other. But I'm preparing for the worst and praying for the best. Michael Stepanik says, John, do you think civil war between left-wing liberals and right-leaning conservatives will start here in California? I will say it could start, it might start, it's possible to start here in California. We've got some of the wackiest, craziest lunatics, and they could start a civil war right here in sunny California. Now, my thing is that left-wing, soft, social justice warrior snowflake types, they're not as familiar with firearms, they're not trained with firearms, they don't like firearms, and they're not efficient and proficient with them. That being the case, the fact that we're outnumbered here in the loony West, that is conservative, constitutional types, we're probably outnumbered 2-to-1. Let's just go with 2-to-1. Fuck it. Let's throw that number out there. But if half the liberals don't know anything about guns, that puts us back to 1-to-1. And for those liberals and left-wing commies that think they know about guns and know a little bit, I'm going to find it hard to believe that they would be as efficient as all of the conservative veterans out here who are well armed because they believe in a strong Second Amendment presence. So civil war can start. It's going to be ugly. No matter what happens, it's not good. It's not something I wish for, but can definitely happen. It definitely could start here in California. Phil Hall says, Phil in the UK here, when the Civil War 2.0 turns out to a shooting war, do you think people of the same mindset of freedom and anti-communism from countries like the UK would be able to get into the US to provide help to you? Just as Hillary's left-wing socialists from around the world would love to come here and straighten us out. My answer is I don't think the government will allow a whole lot of visitors from other nations when they come, if we have that type of civil unrest, if we've got civil war, if we've got a shooting war going on. I don't think they're going to allow people in. As for my attitude, freedom-loving people, you want to fight commies? You're welcome anywhere that communism is rearing its ugly head. You know, freedom is so important, so critical to maintaining humanity and the sanity. What little of is it there is in humanity. Phil, you would be welcome, but Phil, I don't think the government would let you in. I don't even think a Republican or conservative government would let you in if we've got a civil war going on. So we're going to go with that. There was a comment I got from someone, the daughter of someone who was a friend of mine when I was younger. She said she remembers me saying words to her years and years ago, kid, you need to learn how to shoot. So she wrote, thank you for teaching me. I'm forever in your debt. And that's really great. It's so hard for me to remember everyone I've talked to. My God, thousands of people now. But I'm glad that I was able to help. And it's good to know. Anyways, she also made a joke about Girl Scouts and brownies. So I think I must have made a Girl Scout joke and brownie joke. I like to make jokes. So anyways, those are the questions that were left over. I got through them as quick as I could. Sorry for the delays, and we'll get this out to you right away. Eyes open, stay frosty, chance favors, the prepared mind is yours. Watch what's going on. It is a crazy world. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.